Hello and welcome everyone to Ask the Talk Doctor Live. It is finally Friday and I am so pleased that you chose to join us today and gifting yourself this time that you so need to just be and sit and enjoy 45 minutes of relaxation because that's exactly what we're talking about today. Our theme for today is rest. Is it really overrated? Well, I'm your host, Dr. Dacia P. Hastings. I'm a psychotherapist, speaker, consultant, and life coach. I'm also the creator of Stress Free Talk RX, which is a digital product that helps you achieve total relaxation through visualization and the power of guided imagery. And I'm also the creator of this lovely platform, Ask the Talk Doctor Live and Power Talks with the Talk Doctor. So, if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. Welcome all of you. Those of you on Instagram, those of you on YouTube, East Coast, West Coast, all around the world, welcome to Ask the Talk Doctor Live. Now, what exactly is Ask the Talk Doctor Live? Well, it is a weekly show that addresses relevant topic on health, mental health, wellness, and relevant topics that occur in everyday life. People can come and gain support and resources or just a place to be in the moment. Take a pause from your day and just allow yourself some time and space to anchor yourself in a very supportive program that we broadcast here for you week after week, noon Eastern Standard Time on Fridays. Tell your friends, grab a coworker, somebody you love, and share with us this wonderful opportunity for you to learn and grow. You can also catch our previous episodes on YouTube at the Talk Doctor, and you can send us your questions, which we love the questions that you've been sending us. Please keep them coming. You can send us your questions to askthetalkdoctorlive@gmail.com. Or when you join us, you can just place your questions in the comment box if you are on Instagram or the chat box if you're on YouTube. So as I said before, today's theme is rest. Is it really overrated? Now, I remember someone saying to me once before, sleep is overrated. And I was a bit floored when I heard that because if you know what I know about sleep or what is out there about sleep in terms of how it does for our health and wellness, you will know that sleep isn't at all overrated. But we're not talking about sleep today. We're talking about an aspect of sleep, which is rest. And what this means is that we're going to dive into this epiphany that I recently had, which inspired this topic. As a wellness consultant, I do a lot of research in the area of health and wellness, and sleep is one of them. In terms of our pillars of health that we encompass in our philosophy at my practice, we talk about mental health, sleep, nutrition, stress management, and exercise. And so one of the things that I find that really basically have to resonate with you as a point of priority is really your sleep. But as I had this epiphany, it dawned on me that so many of us are so restless in the world today. Political restlessness, civil unrest that forces us into a state of restlessness, our busyness in life, the things that we have to do for our families, our friends, obligations, the list goes on. It's almost as if I'm seeing in front of me the Energizer Bunny from time to time with no sign of stopping or sitting down. But you know what? That is not a healthy way to live. And this epiphany that I had told me that perhaps people today must really have some sort of stirring in their soul that allows them to be so restless. So, what exactly is our soul, or where exactly is our soul located? Now, some of you who are very spiritual probably is very well grounded in what your soul is and where it is located. Some philosophers equate the soul to the heart, while others say it is found in the brain. Both organs are highly important to us as human beings. But from a spiritual perspective, our soul is truly a living, breathing, conscious phenomenon. Therefore, being restless in the soul can lead to dire consequences in our lives. And when we get down to the heart of the matter, no pun intended, the soul really rests in our heart. Research tells us that the moment someone is born, the first organ that you really see, I'm sorry, the moment someone is conceived, the first organ that develops is the heart, which tells me at some point in time that person's soul enters into that wonderful phenomenon or that wonderful form of creation. Stay with me now. So, as you think about it, many philosophers tell us as well that the soul comes from the attitude of the woman who is, developing this baby alongside. And so when I think about what that looks like and what that means, it fascinates me that our soul really comes into existence and perspective really at the heart when the heart is developing. So why is our soul so restless as we exist in today's world? It is one of those things that I wrestle with in my practice with many of my patients as they struggle to find peace within their mindset. I remember one patient sharing with me, she came to me because she was so anxious. And she shared with me that she has a difficult time really resting. Again, a little bit different from us going to sleep at night. She has such difficulty resting that when she sits, she has to be doing something, whether it's tapping her feet, twirling a pen, having something that can really take care of some of the jitters that she has. This tells me that this person really struggles to be still, to find rest. Are you running on E? Are you running on empty? Do you find yourself constantly feeling like you're chasing your tail? This simply means chasing after the wind. And for that matter, none of us have ever been able to catch the wind, have we? It's important for us to understand that stillness is the very thing that our mind, our bodies, and our soul needs today. But we have such difficulty doing that because there are so many distractions in life, so many things happening, so many things keeping us in this space that we have to constantly be on, and it's showing up as dire consequences in our mental and physical health, and our souls simply cannot find rest. So, in this power talk, in this brief moment, I want to share with you some ways that your soul can find rest. First and foremost, if you are a spiritual person, set aside some time for daily prayer. Or if you don't know how to pray, perhaps it might mean meditating. Both are ways to pause, to stop, and go inward. There are many ways to pray. Whether you write your prayers down and recite them as a way to help you anchor yourselves, or you meditate on a word such as peace, tranquility, wisdom, whatever that word might be for you, it really symbolizes for you that I'm giving myself an opportunity to find rest. Another way is to practice mindfulness meditation. And listen up, those of you who struggle with anxiety. Mindfulness meditation is one of the single most powerful ways to help you find peace in your mind, which brings peace to your soul. It requires stillness. It requires intention to allow you to stay in the present and here and now, not necessarily to ignore the thoughts that come, but to remind yourself that you do not have to interact with them. The moment you begin to interact with the thoughts that enter your mind, it takes you away from your peace. It takes you away from your stillness. So when you sit to practice mindfulness, again, being present and in the moment, remind yourself that my thoughts can come and go, and I'll simply watch them drift away like they're drifting on a cloud, not at all moved by them, allowing myself to keep my peace. Find an anchor that reminds you to stop and pause. We need gentle reminders today. We are so overscheduled, so overbooked, running here and there, and we never prioritize self. We never take the time to put ourselves on our own calendars. And unfortunately, with the struggles that we have today in life to really rest and be still and be at peace, it's boiled down to really scheduling yourself on your calendar. So what that might look like is that you might put on your calendar 30 minutes out of the day, and maybe you don't have that 30 minutes. So start with 10 minutes, start with 15 minutes. And in that moment, really allow yourself to say, what am I going to do with this time that I have gifted myself? So it might mean that you get a good book that's going to inspire you. And you're going to set a timer for that period in time that you've given yourself. You allow yourself the time to immerse yourself in that book. And when the time is up, watch what happens to your entire being. Maybe the time might mean just spending time breathing in between meetings, in between obligations, whatever the time might be. But set a timer to schedule time for yourself if you are having a difficult time with prioritizing you. Very important. Focus on something inspiring every day. Ask the Talk Doctor Live is one of those. We have a myriad of episodes posted online for you, and you can come every Friday Eastern Standard Time and gift yourself this time to really be still in the moment, gain support from other people who are asking questions or even being here. The energy is so vibrant and so important to get that camaraderie of like-minded people who are really here to prioritize themselves. And be intentional about going to bed at a set time. This past week, I did a seminar for a group on sleep. Very powerful, very dynamic. And the same things tend to come over and over again every time I give these talks on sleep. People are really incredibly moved by the number of ways that sleep can help them to be their best selves. It is the number one thing that you need to prioritize, because if you're healthy in all other areas, without the proper amount of sleep, it cancels out all that work you're doing. Good nutrition, exercise, managing your stress. But without that magic bullet of sleep, you might as well throw the rest of it out. So sleep is very important. And what I encourage you to do to make your soul find rest is start a gratitude journal. Use that gratitude journal at night to really allow yourself to think about things only in the positive realm and not necessarily all the thoughts that are inundating your mind from the things that you didn't get done throughout the day. Because guess what? There is absolutely nothing you can do about the things that you didn't get done. You just simply need to be able to find a way to quiet your mind. And that could be through a journaling. It could also be through practicing yoga for sleep. And if you were here last week, our wonderful guest gave some very wonderful insights on yoga. Go ahead and check out episode 13 again, because yoga is also a powerful way to allow you that space of peace and to help you achieve that stillness you so long for. And it's important for you to understand that you have to be intentional about forgiving yourself. A lot of our thoughts and a lot of the things that really plague our minds stem from the past and things that we are not really allowing ourselves to let go. So be intentional about letting go of things that you have no power over anymore. Don't allow it to have power over you in the present. And there's nothing you can do about tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself. So the mix up, the mess up, give yourself some grace and allow yourself to be intentional about simply being and about really allowing yourself the grace that you need. So we're going to switch gears a little bit here because I have a wonderful guest that's going to join us today. Tell you a little bit about our guest. Her name is Nike Hightower. She is a wife, a mom, a grandmother, a life coach, author, entrepreneur, and woman of God. And I am so pleased that she's going to be here with us today as we continue to celebrate Women in History Month. This is our last week on celebrating women, but we're going to celebrate women all year long, all throughout the lifetime, because women are to be celebrated. So a little bit about her. She's the CEO of QETV Live, informative live streaming show. And I remember years back, pre-pandemic, I was on her show, and she's a phenomenal host, phenomenal speaker. She facilitates everyday life networking groups of emerging businesses, empowering the mind to dream the impossible. She's the proud owner of a retail vendor vintage shop at the Hughesville Bargain Ball called the She Shad. Isn't that cute? And so that being said, she's going to be able to allow us to get to know her a little bit as I welcome my guest here, Nike Hightower. Welcome to Ask the Talk Doctor Live.
Thank you for having me.
It's such a pleasure.
I
Yes.
want to do a mic check.
I can hear you very well. Yes.
Wonderful. Again, thank you so much. I'm honored to be on Ask the Talk Doctor. You are a phenomenal lady yourself, and it was my pleasure and honor to interview you, and I learned so much. I wanted you to really keep going. But again, thank you, Doctor. Everything you said was truly, I'm a witness to all of it. Because if we apply at least some of those techniques, we will be much better than where we are now.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to say where I am now today, through trial and error, if I would apply some of those things early in life, I would be further along than where I am. But nevertheless, it's never too late.
That's right.
To live your best life.
That's right.
You're absolutely right. As a mom, as a mother, as a grandmother, as an entrepreneur, everything is pulling on your time.
Yes, it is.
You definitely have to learn the art of prioritizing.
Absolutely.
And the art of simply just saying no.
Yes.
That
tiny little word, that tiny little word. Yes, that tiny little word that we have such a hard time with, because that is also part of prioritizing ourselves. One of the strategies and techniques that I use in my practice is to help people understand by saying no to this, you can say yes to this, meaning I can say yes to exercise. I can say yes to taking some time out for myself. So we got to know how to prioritize the no. You're absolutely right. So we're going to learn a lot about her today. She's a phenomenal woman, and I'm so glad that she is here with us. She co-authored a book titled The Chronicles of Life After Book, Volume 2. I want to know what inspired the writing of that book.
What a great question, and thank you so much for asking. And actually, I am a contributing author.
Correction.
Yes, ma'am. The actual author of the book is Dr. Katrina Makins, and this is her third book. And she did the Chronicles of Life 1, and a friend of mine was a contributing author in the book and told me a little bit about it. But when Dr. Katrina approached me and asked me she basically asked each one of us, it was 7 ladies, powerful women of God, who she wanted to share their life journey. And she gave each of us a chapter to write. And she wanted us to chronicle some things about our life that could help other women. And I'm so excited that you are honoring this month to highlight women, because it's important as a woman to another woman to inspire, to encourage, and to assist her in being her best self. And when she asked me to write the chapter about my life, I kind of struggled with it a little bit because writing one chapter, it was hard to put in it 2,500 words. So after a while, make a long story short, we had to scratch that. I said, let me say that. Let me give you an event last year that happened to me and tell me what you think about me contributing this. Well, as you know, with the pandemic, a lot of things have changed. We have a new normal. So I turned 60 in August of 2021.
Wow, congratulations.
Yes, as I was approaching my 60th birthday, I had a moment. Like, why am I here? Why can't I have this great, big, huge 60th? But because I could not have the people and the friends around me that I truly wanted to celebrate because of the social distancing and the travel and all the above, I kind of got into my little feelings and started pouting. And so I had to dig deep down inside and realize, why can't I just celebrate me?
Yes.
Learn how to celebrate yourself.
I love it.
Why did I need a group, a host of friends and relatives? I mean, that's all good. Don't get me wrong. It is a milestone to turn 60. Absolutely. But at the same time, you have to learn how to reinvent your new life under this new normal.
Absolutely.
So I remember sharing it with my son, and he said, well, Mom, he said, if you could talk to your mini self like 30 years ago, what would you say to yourself? And I began to think, I had a lot of regrets, Dr. Busier. I had a lot of regrets. And moving forward, I said, if someone would have told me what I knew now, could things have been better?
Right.
So he says, write that. Write down how you plan to spend your next 60 years.
That's awesome.
If you live to be 120, how would you spend the next? So I coined a phrase, and that's the title in the book, called My Next is Now.
My next is now.
I'm not waiting next year.
Wow.
I'm not waiting next month.
Yes.
My next begins now.
That's absolutely right.
I want to chronicle my life in sharing my experiences with women early.
I so love that. Like, I want the women to hear, women and men for that matter, whoever is joining us, I want you to hear that your next is now. And as we are really diving into the theme of rest for your soul, you have to realize that it is now, today. It can't wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow may very well be too late. I love that your son had such wisdom and allowed you to really see this from a different perspective. Because, you know, truth be told, is it not? We get in our own way every day, do we not? Whether we let fear, whether we let other people, as in what you stated about, you know, the idea of just having this grand party and friends around and that matter. Sometimes it's a matter of what we think other people might want us to do. And you're right, celebrating you anytime, anywhere, any age is the absolute wonderful thing that we can do. I love that so much. So do you have an excerpt that you want to quickly share, maybe a line from the book or something that can kind of give our guest here today, our co-hosts, as I love to call them, to be able to just kind of hear a little about the book? And I think I see it in the background there. You want to hold it up so we can see what that looks like? All
Yes.
right,
It's
beautiful.
called The Chronicles of Life After Volume 2.
Exceptional.
And on the back, the ladies that
Oh,
were
awesome.
contributing authors
So lovely.
in the book. And I'm telling you, this book has, you know what, we sometimes think that we're the only one going through something until we hear someone else's story.
Yeah, yeah.
And you go, my God.
Yes.
These powerful ladies, each, when we did our release back here during December of 2021 at the book release, when I got to meet these ladies and hear their stories, I had nothing to complain about.
You kind of look at your stuff like, wow, you know, I might as well keep my stuff because I wouldn't want yours.
Right.
Yes.
And that's the journey that we all have to realize that we're on, because everyone has a story and everyone has a journey.
Yes.
And one of the things Dr. Katrina encouraged, everyone has a tribe that they speak to. And my story may be different from your story.
Absolutely.
But my story will help. And the line that I will say is my chapter titled, Let Your Next Be Now.
Yes.
Because what we've gone through in the last 2.5 years, you're not promised tomorrow.
Yes, indeed.
Today is the day.
Yes.
So whatever you would like to do or plan to do, hope to do, dream to do, begin to do it now. And that's what I challenge each and every reader as they read my chapter is write down. I do not care if it's only one thing each year, so that at the end of the year, you have mastered something.
Absolutely.
Whether it's to write your own story, whether it's to visit a museum, whether it's to take a trip, whether it's to simply say to someone you haven't said in a while, I love you. Let that next thing that you want to do begin today, now.
Right. I love that.
Now is the day.
Now is the day. I love that so much. Thank you for sharing that. You know, you're absolutely right. I think that the one thing that is echoed throughout post-pandemic, a lot of people are realizing that, yes, tomorrow isn't promised. And we do need to make sure that we're focusing on the here and now, the things that are in front of us, even the idea of us making sure that we take time to rest our souls. So I want to ask you, you know, one more question before we go into the segment where we take questions from the audience here. And I would love for you guys to go ahead and place things in the comment. If you're on Instagram, in the chat, if you're on YouTube, I see some of you checking in here and giving us, you know, just kudos and applause. You know, thank you so much for joining. You know, forgive me, guys. You know, at times I can't see some of the stuff that's coming through in the chat, but I know it's all love. And I thank you guys so much. So if you have questions, go ahead and place them now, because Nike and I, in a moment, are going to be answering your questions. I want to ask you something about your coping strategy. You know, you talked a lot about the pandemic, and I wonder if you can share with us what's your go-to coping strategy in times of distress. How do you cope with uncertainty? For the benefit of those of us who are here today, you know, so many of us are struggling for ways to, from a day to day, show up and recognize that it now is the time, but distractions get in our way, distresses come, things of uncertainty. So what's your go-to?
Actually, you touched on it at the beginning, and I said, oh my goodness, she is just eating up all of my go-to information. So, but that's actually a good thing, because we need to be reminded, and out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be established.
Absolutely.
But my go-to mechanism, the older I get, the wiser I get, because now I realize I put God first. Let me say that again.
Yes.
I didn't understand it in my younger days, because I thought I had to be the person to do it all. I thought I was like my mom,
Mm-hmm.
which she did everything herself. She was an amazing woman, and I thought I had to be like that. That I
Yes.
don't need anyone's help. I can do it all by myself.
I got this.
But as I learned in life, that will easily destroy you.
Yes,
Because
indeed.
you were not created to carry, to bear things that you cannot have control over and do anything about. So when I learned the power of prayer, putting God first,
Yes.
He said, if you put me first and acknowledge me, I will direct.
That's
Think
right.
about this. Who is the person that knows everything? He's all knowing. He's all powerful. He's everywhere present at the same time.
Yes.
Why
indeed.
not? Why not serve and why not honor someone who wants to help you?
Oh, that's
And so
good.
because of that, I learned how, like you just mentioned, how to meditate on those promises that He tells me. I can find hope in Him.
Yes.
I can find rest in Him. I can find peace in Him. So my go-to is cuddling up with a good inspirational book, cuddling up with my Bible, cuddling up with a great, book that someone has written that have gone through what I've gone through, and I don't have to make the same mistake over again.
Yes.
And also placing people around you who can assist you so you don't have to make that same mistake. If you tell me there is a cliff at the end of that street, I don't need to go and travel to the end of the street and check it out.
Yeah.
If I trust you and I believe you enough, then I'm going to take your word of advice, apply it. That's wisdom.
That is.
A lot of people say wisdom, that experience is the greater teacher. I always want to challenge people. You don't have to experience. It's a good teacher, but it's not the greatest teacher. Learning the art of listening and applying what someone who's been down that road before, you apply that experience to your life, then guess what? That experience can be a great teacher for you.
That's but so awesome.
Learning how to listen.
Yes.
So words of listening, putting yourself in the company, a multitude of counseling. There's wisdom in that as well.
That's awesome.
Why I like Ask the Talk Doctor.
Thank you so much for that. That is so awesome.
Experience.
And I really hope that you guys got that. Yes, indeed, indeed. And there's so many resources. Back and
listen to your podcast, they will get a lot of information that they can apply. And guess what? It didn't cost them.
Didn't cost you a thing. Absolutely. I love that so much. I love that so much. And I love that you just highlight how God is at the center of your life, because we truly need that as our anchor today. And we don't recognize how much we chase after our tails, trying to figure things out when it's already there for us. All we have to do is rest in the promises that were provided to us and walk in our purpose and allow ourselves to recognize that it is us who are making this life so hard. We can't control what's going to happen tomorrow. There is nothing we can do about tomorrow, but we have our now, as you have highlighted. What are you going to do now?
I have a poem for you that I would like to share with your viewers. It's a go-to poem that it was turned into a song written by Fanny Crosby, but it's such a powerful poem that now a lot of people say as you get older, you become your parents.
You think you're becoming your mother. Well, how about
used to sing.
Yeah. How about we take some questions? Because after all, this is Ask the Talk Doctor Live, and we want to be able to get to the questions that are here. And then maybe at the wrap up, you can share some of that, and then I'll give a closing talk. But, you were mentioning something about just really being able to rest in, your anchors, such as prayer, and you're reading your word and something inspirational. And one of our viewers sent in a question. You also talked about being with like-minded people. And I love this question that one of our viewers sent in, and I hope they're here today. And again, if you have questions, go ahead. This is a good time to go ahead and place them in the comments. But this one was pre-sent in, and this person said, how does one cope if they don't have a support system? And, that is really a reality for some people, that in their mind, they feel like they're so lonely, they're so isolated, they're so disconnected from a strong support system. So it makes it very hard for them to see how they gain support. And we who do have a lot of people around us or some kind of support system, we take for granted that there are groups of people who really live very isolated and lonely lives. So this person said, how do I cope if I don't have a support system? So I want to know if you want to go first, or you want me to take a stab at it first.
Well, I would like to encourage that person. I'm so honored, first of all, to even ask the question. You have just opened yourself up for the support that you need. Yeah. Because now you're open to receive. And that's the first step, is to acknowledge. The second step, once you acknowledged it, now you have gained two sisters. Because we both now are here to support you in how you feel. Yeah. So one of the greatest things you can do, start listening to Ask the Talk Doctor on YouTube Live. Because it's not costing you. Some people say, well, I don't have money to pay for a psychotherapist. I don't have the money to go and see a doctor or go out with my friends or do this or that. This is not costing you anything. Mm-hmm. It doesn't cost money to every pastor now have a live ministry. Yeah. Where they have to go online, because during the pandemic, we couldn't go in person. Yeah. So every minister have learned to add live streaming to their church services. Find you one that speaks to you and begin to listen. The good news is no one knows when you click them off and cut them off. Guess what? It's private. It's your social media. Yeah. So to be honest, there's a lot of things that you can move forward toward. Absolutely. That are free. Yes. That are still private and give you that confidence until you're able to come out of that state you're in. And then the more you discover that, then one by one, pray, like we just said. Pray and meditate. Yeah. Ask God, because one thing I know, if you ask, you shall receive.
Yes,
ask God
indeed.
to
Amen.
To send you a friend or mentor, yes, that can assist you and guide you. And I promise you, he will not fail short.
That's right.
Of moving in your direction.
I love that so much. I love that response. And I like how you spin it off on the confidence, because sometimes the isolation means that, what if I'm rejected? What if I don't find, what if they don't accept me in their group? What if I don't find, and the what if goes on, which sort of spirals this person and lead them into further isolation. But I like how you said to gain the confidence, and through inspirational platforms like this, you can gain so much support from like-minded people that will even lead you to resources where, look, I love that we have just so many resources at our disposal today, simply because of what social media has been able to open up for us. And like you were saying, this person needs to think about their interests. There's so many special interest groups out there that you can connect with other forms of support, other like-minded people that will allow you that comfort and that support that you need, because maybe you can't find it at work, maybe you can't find it in your family, but you can certainly find it in your God-given family, those people who come into your life. Now, be careful what you wish for. When you start asking, watch what's going to happen. So thank you so much for your question. We're going to take another one. Someone said, is it possible to move on from childhood trauma? Does time really heal all wounds? And you know, I think if we've lived long enough, each and every one of us in this room, in this virtual space, and even in the world have gone through some form of trauma. Your trauma is not my trauma is not yours. But the first key is to recognize that that's what it is. Trauma will keep you stuck. Trauma holds us back from becoming the people who we were intended to be. Now, trauma can be looked at as a vehicle. Many, as you even talked about in the book that you were a contributor of, many of those amazing, phenomenal women had to go through some kind of trauma in the journey to where they are today. And so a lot of times, a lot of us look at our trauma and we let it keep us stuck, or we let it hold us back. I'm going to say to this person who sent this question in, run to a professional that can help you process that pain, because who you are and who you are to become is waiting on you. You need to do everything that you can possibly do to acknowledge that my pain and my trauma is real, and I need to be able to process it so I can move past it. And once you do that, I assure you, a whole host of other things will open up for you. Because I always say this, the pain you experience is not for you, it's for someone else. That other person is waiting for your story. That other person is waiting for the things that you have to share with them about what you've gone through and the growth you've experienced as a result of that. But first, you have to acknowledge it. You can't hide behind that pain. So the short answer is to that person, yes, it is possible to heal from childhood trauma, but sometimes you need a little bit of help to push you along the journey into your next place. Anything you want to add to that one?
Yes, ma'am. I think you hit it right on the nose. I did everything you say, just a little short testimony from our book. That night we had the book release. Each one of us had 30 seconds to kind of share how, our chapter in the book. One of the ladies told Dr. Katrina, I know it was God asking you for me to be in this book. I was on the verge of committing suicide. This book gave me hope. It gave me purpose. I was able to share my story that I had been holding on to. We all sobbed and got quiet that night because none of us did not know. Here was this beautiful lady in this black, beautiful dress, all dressed up in her gown. And yet, a couple of months prior to that, was on the verge of suicide. So you see what holding on to trauma will do to you.
Indeed.
But when you release it, as you just stated, I will say to you, release it, because your misery can become your ministry.
Oh, yes. Say that again. Your misery can become your ministry. I love that.
For someone else. Exactly. Yes. And that's what happened. She now have people purchasing her book, listening to her story, and so many other women go, I am going through the same thing.
Yes.
So that's what trauma does, it tries to keep you
Holds us
tied
back.
to its past so that you cannot be free to walk in your purpose. Free yourself from that past and begin to
Absolutely.
walk your purpose.
That's so wonderful. That's so lovely. Very well said. So I hope that this person who sent this question in is listening, that there is hope, that yes, you truly can heal from whatever pain that you have gone through. You just have to allow yourself. And like you said, your misery can become your ministry. I see we're running short on time. We don't have any more time to take any more questions, because I know that you guys are probably ready to get on with and go on with your day and whatever you have to do. I am so grateful that you chose to be with us today. Everything you shared resonated with us. Please tell the people how they can find you, before we kind of wrap up and give the closing, where they can find you, if they want to purchase the book, anything that you want to give final here.
Well, what I will do is just give you my email address, email me or call me for contact information. Feel free to email me at Hightower, that's Z as in zebra, N as in Nancy, Hightower, HIGHTOWER,
Yes.
at gmail.com. Or you can simply call me at 240-353-3806. Call me, email me, and I can get you any of the information you may need. And again, thank you so much for listening. And Doctor, thank you so much. Ask the Talk Doctor. I may be calling you to ask you some more questions.
Well, we love the questions. We love the questions that you send in. So I hope that you got her contact. She's on Instagram at what is the Instagram handle for you? So if people want to look you up.
At Nike Hightower.
At Nike Hightower. NIKKIHI. Yes. IE. Okay. NIKKIE Hightower, HIGHTOWER. And you can also find her there if you are interested in maybe getting the book or any other resources that she has to offer. It always seems to me like this time just runs so quickly by. But I am thankful for those of you who stayed on with us. I really hope that the message today resonated. I'm going to give a little bit of a wrap up here as we close off. I haven't seen anything that came through as far as questions, but I see so many lovely comments. All of you all that are here, you are phenomenal to me. I love you guys for supporting this platform and for telling your friends and your relatives and your coworkers and anybody that you feel can really benefit from gifting themselves 45 minutes of time out of the day. In closing, I'd like to share a quote from an anonymous author, and it reads, "Allow your soul to rest. Your soul speaks to you in quiet moments, in between your thoughts." I think that that's so wonderful, you see, because we power down our devices at the end of each day because they need to rest to function at their best the next day. We turn off the engine to our vehicles and we park them at the end of the day. They too need to rest to function at their best. Even nature goes to rest every night, providing the ecosystem with what it needs the next day. And even if the very nature's work is to go on 24 hours, at some point, other forms take over so that parts of the ecosystem can achieve its rest as well. God himself knew that we would need rest. That's why he created the Sabbath rest, a time where we can truly pause from the hustle and bustle of life and truly enjoy a time to reflect and rest, not just our physical bodies, or turn off the chatter that constantly is incessantly in our minds, but to truly tap into the rest that the soul so desperately needs. A time to recognize the value of stillness, how much we would learn about ourselves and our purpose, our worth, our value, our mission in relation to ourselves and the outside world if we simply took time to be still and rest. May we stop trying to manage tomorrow, lest we simply miss what we can gain in the present moment and rest in the peace that the soul truly longs for. I love you guys. I thank you for being here. Love you, Nike. Thank you for all of your wisdom and everything that you shared with our guests and our audience here today. And I encourage you to continue to send your questions in. You can send them in to askthetalkdrlive@gmail.com. And remember to like and subscribe. Tell a friend, bring a coworker, and we will see you next time on Ask the Talk Doctor Live. Thank you for being here. Love you guys so much. Have a great day. Thank you, Nike. Bye-bye.